Welcome to NS101 Application Programming Interfaces. Let me start by saying that if you already have experience with APIs, please do skip this course. You do not need to take this course if you already know what APIs are, you're familiar with the HTTP protocol, and so on. Okay, so skip it. And if you're wondering why I'm mentioning this, because I've seen a couple of the past survey results saying that we already know APIs, I didn't have to take this class. Okay, all right, let's begin. And we're going to begin with a customary introductions. The My name is George Karabotzas. I'm a technical instructor. At least that's what my title is. Even though I've been doing everything related to training, from the actual curriculum development, that is building the courses, to the underlying infrastructure to support the courses, managing the LMS, and also doing the instructing. Okay. I'm based out of Wilmington, North Carolina nowadays, in case you're wondering. And my relevant experience is 14 plus years as a software developer, primarily full stack. So I have built a good chunk of APIs, good amount of APIs in my career, and we'll discuss more on this when we get to the different types of APIs. Okay. Um, Somewhere in between those 14 plus years as a software developer, I choose to follow an academic career. That is just to go for my master's, doctorates, and so on, until I realized it's not for me, and I went back being a software developer. And because I got teaching experience from academia about 10 and a half years ago, a little over 10 and a half years ago, I was approached to um, do professional training. I go and do live instructing in a professional setting. Okay. And here I am, still doing it 10 and a half years ago, 10 and a half years later. Okay. Now, the audience, the appropriate owners for this class will be somebody who's not familiar with APIs, right? If you have no familiarity, if you have little familiarity, if you want a refresher, this is a class for you. And as I mentioned in the few minutes ago, right, in the entrance of this course, in that title slide, if you already know what APIs are, do not take this class. Okay? Do not take this class. Skip it. Go do the next one, and so on. Okay. What's your expectation? Your expectation should be that you're going to get an understanding of what APIs are. You're going to get to see the different types of APIs, what do they feel, how they look, and so on. Okay. There's a bunch of different resources available to you. So you have a set of student slides. It's a PDF version of the slides that I'm currently sharing with you. You have a walkthrough manual. It's about 14, 15 pages long. Contains step-by-step instructions on how to complete all the exercises. And again, we choose to provide you with all kind of different resources, such as a manual so you can go and read, a set of recordings so you can actually watch, because not everybody learns the same way, right? So you have all kind of different resources. As soon as you complete all the material, you can go and complete an assessment quiz. It's 20 questions. There's 70% passing mark, and the assessment quiz is repeatable. It's supposed to be an assessment quiz. Upon completion of all the materials, even the survey, you will be granted the proof of completion. Think of it as a certificate, right? Okay. Um, the only other thing you need is access to a browser, and we're going to navigate to all these different sites, and we're going to get to see information related to APIs, and we're going to actually access different types uh, of APIs that are used on day-to-day basis. That's why I'm going to take you to PayPal. That's why we're going to go under Slack. That's why we're going to go under GraphQL, gRPC, and so on. Right? Some of these that were harder for me to track down, actual production grade APIs, right? But some others they're not as hard, right? Some other types, I mean. Okay, so keep that in mind. Optionally, you may want to install SoapUI. You want to install one of Postman, Insomnia, and curl. In our case, for our course, I'm going to be using SoapUI and curl. These are the two tools I will be using. And again, these are optional tools, primarily because the steps that I'm going to undertake to explain some of the exercises are optional. Okay. Alrighty. The main objectives. Again, we're going to talk about APIs. I'm going to start with our evolution. Understanding the timeline always helps, in my humble opinion, and from what I've seen in the past. We're going to see how the industry has adopted APIs in a massive way, and that has caused all kind of different risks and challenges. We're going to talk a little bit about the HTTP protocol. Okay, if you are not familiar with the HTTP protocol and you want to work with APIs, you're doing it wrong. You gotta get familiarity with the HTTP protocol, and I'm gonna take you to locations where you can get that familiarity. Okay, the same locations are also available in your student manual. Okay, in case you want to learn them that way. Um, and then we're going to focus on the HTTP-based APIs. We're going to talk about their main components. We're going to talk about the different types of HTTP-based APIs because there is at least half a dozen, and God knows what the future is going to bring. Okay, and of course explain their differences. And again, if you know these APIs, how they look, how they feel, then you're going to be able to understand and interpret the information that the no-name platform present. And that's the main purpose of having a class like this. It gives you an understanding of the basics of HTTP-based APIs, and then move on in understanding what the no-name platform presents, right? And every time we complete a section, you're going to see a slide that looks like this, section end. And so you get a visual indication as well that the section is done, so you can actually move to the next recording. Unfortunately, our LMS currently does not support autoplay, so you can move automatically from one recording to the next. Okay. And with this, we completed this section, this introductory section.